these other cultures, all these other bloodlines that would never in a million years be classified as a Negro. It even says right in the definition, all colored people, Negroes are always colored people, but not all colored people are Negroes. Literally one of the definitions right out of the book. What that definition is referring to is there's a lot of black races that are not of African descent. Certain Indian tribes have very dark skin. Certain Indian tribes have very dark skin.
Certain Indian tribes have very dark skin.
There were people who were here in America even before us that had dark skin. Dark skin. All Negroes are colored people, but not all colored people are Negroes.
Black people, they are the original owners of America. Black people, African Americans, they were already here and they plagued them out. And they stole the Smithsonian Institute, which is Jesuit controlled, stole their knowledge, stole their history, and now we're just left wondering who we are, where we come from, where we're going. We don't know anything. Just go into a country, plague the whole place out, and then take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. Whoa. The black people, they are the original owners of America.
Me originally is America, Egypt. More mummies are found in America in this time period that I cover by 1,000,000 miles. And that many of the mummies in European museums were actually stolen and rebranded from America. What? I reshared an article that I posted many, many years ago, quite recently, about a cave in northern Mexico where they found thousands of mummies. In my Anomalous America Kentucky episode, I bring up an old article where they found so many thousands of mummies that they were just burning them because they couldn't transport them. They were just lighting them on fire. This is the Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. Probably familiar with that cave. It was a giant tomb full of thousands and thousands of mummies.
I'm saying is research what I'm saying. I know it sounds taboo, but what happened if the biggest conspiracy in the history of lies happened? And that is that we are indigenous from America. We come from America. We don't come from Africa. But in order for them to take the precious treasures of America, which we have oil, we have gold, we have copper, we have all of that here. They act like all this is in Africa. All this is here too. What happened if it was to drive us out, connect us back to Africa, for we want to go back home, and while we going back to so-called home, we're leaving our home and they taking over our land? I'm just saying, when you really think about it, then look, what happened if the maps is flipped? Because from my understanding of my studies, Lebanon, Illinois, was called Lebanon before there was a Lebanon over there. What about Israel? Here.
The chopping down of the cherry tree. The Moroccan flag was the red flag, the red standard. It was called the cherry tree because it was red. Originally it was pure red. They later put a green saber on it, or a green pentagram on it to distinguish it from maritime red flags. But it was originally red, and it was called the cherry tree. So George Washington chopping down the cherry tree referred to the fact that the first treaty with the United States of America was with Morocco, and part of that arrangement between their diplomacies was that Morocco had sued America during the Revolutionary War because they were enslaving their people. The Sultan was so they sued America, and America did not respond. So Morocco started taking hostage American ships hostage, and this resulted in a diplomatic squabble, which eventually was settled.
See, people got America all twisted. You got the people of America, the true people of America, all twisted. Even though we had people rocking feathers, we were the people that was rocking silk, pants, shirts, turbans, fezzes. We had apartment complexes, castles, forts, palaces. When they came over here, they saw many great cities, many great buildings, cities with buildings, homes, castles. It was already a running system over here. What they fed you in school was a lie, to take your mind off the greatness that America already had. That's why they had to tear down all the World Fair buildings. Why do you think they tore them down? Most of them. Why do you think they tore them down? Because they didn't want you to know how great America was. We was already an empire running the world. What they fed y'all in school is a lie. Remember, school education is a weapon. They use education as a weapon against the Aboriginal people. You must wake up and see. Y'all, you got the game twisted. They fed us these Indian stories, and in your mind, that's what you see when you think of an Indian instead of a true American. And what was the true Americans doing and rocking is what I'm showing you right now. That's why they had to get rid of the Moors. They put a bad taste in everybody's mouth about the Moors. Now people turn their nose up every time you hear about Moors. But you can't skip over the history of the Moors, because the Moors' history is the most important history that you need to know why they got their foot on our necks. Why you think they so hard on us and what we did? Because of what we did in the past. Y'all not understanding. By you putting a block on the Moors, you're blocking true
Native to Negroes. What happened? What happened? Why did they try so hard to erase us? So-called African Americans that are Aborigine to Turtle Island. From Native to Negroes is the question. It's the question. When the evidence lies before your eyes, would you question what your oppressor has done to us? If I told you these people right here that you're looking at were Mongoloids, and that they were not the original Indians, you would not believe me. If I told you in the books that it shows what the true Indians look like, you would not believe me. If I told you that Indians were melanated, dark-skinned, complected people, you would not believe me. If I told you the very first woman that was on these soils was a black melanated woman, you would not believe me. If I told you slavery is not what you thought it was, you wouldn't believe me. If I told you the slave ships we still cannot find to this day, you would not believe me. If I told you that you cannot pack over 300 something people,
this is the only one that I have seen myself. This is a king of America, probably the first king to ever invade Europe. Yeah, the Moors weren't the only ones. They didn't all come from Africa, they also came from this part of the world. One of the three Tartarian kings was killed. Were they all related? Well, are you ready for this? It's going to get even crazier. I also wanted to show this. There is a lot of this information online. This is another one of the original Tartarians, one of the original Moorish Tartarians when they were combined, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, which wasn't in Africa, but I'm not doing that today. Okay, wait a minute. Hang on. Ready?
I'm Sergeant Robert Horton, United States Army Special Operations. I was a psychological operations specialist from 1999 to 2012, and I'm also a son of the American Revolution. Now, everyone is wondering about this Russell J. Gould and David Wynn Miller story, and everybody wants to know what in the world is going on with that. What does it mean, right? Okay, but to understand what it means, you have to understand what's going on planet Earth that you all need to be made aware of so you can understand what it is these guys are talking about, okay? So I'm going to go back to the beginning. This is a very old Masonic system that's operating here on planet Earth, and it is all based upon shipping and postal wars that have morphed into banking wars. Okay, so the three really work together hand in hand, but the banking warfare has really kicked off here as of late in relation to this whole thing. So when you're born here on this planet, or here on this planet, you are born of the water, right? Because this is a shipping war. You're all captured in a shipping warfare that you're unaware of, that you've been captured into. So when you're born of your mother's water. And you are docked as a vessel by a doctor, who is a registered harbor master by the port authorities and authorized by the Department of Transportation. And when you are docked by the doctor, you are then harbored in the harbor in a vessel and dry dock known as a hospital, which is considered to be a boat parked on the land. Okay? But when you're born and harbored by the harbor master in this vessel and dry dock, you are considered a ward of the state. So you are placed into a maternity ward. Why are you a ward of the state? Because you have not yet been brought under the laws of this old school Masonic system. Now, how they get you into this old school Masonic system is with the birth certificate. So you're considered a ward of the state or an outlaw because you're not yet under